stand up here and then just talk?
What am I supposed to say?
Tell me all about yourself, real quick.
I should have left you come up
Go
here.
ahead and sing.
Ha ha ha. I ain't got nothing to say here. Do you hear anything? Huh?
Go ahead and talk. Keep going.
I'm an old man with a lot of experience. I ain't got nothing to say. What shall I say? Sing you a song?
Yeah, sing me a song.
In Lauterbach hab ich mein Strumpf verloren. Und ohne Strumpf geh ich nicht heim. Jetzt muss ich wieder nach Lauterbach gehen. Und hol ich ein Strumpf zu mein Bein. Didn't ya?
Try it one more time.
That's real good English. In Lauterbach hab ich mein Strumpf verloren. Und ohne Strumpf geh ich nicht heim. Jetzt muss ich wieder nach Lauterbach gehen. Und hol ich ein Strumpf zu mein Bein.
How you doing? See ya. I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing rolling in color. Yes.
Master mechanic ain't here. He was here when he
Asked to sing by Jim. Well, I guess it was Joe that asked us, but it was on Jim's behalf. He was sang at the mini rallies, and as Jim knows, when he asked me to sing, the only thing I sing is gospel music. And I trust it doesn't offend anybody, and it's kind of a light song. It talks about what we, as if we are Christians, should be doing, and that's letting people know that there is a God and that there is somebody that does take care of us. The song is called Let My Light Shine.
After that meal, you want to sing?
I haven't gone for my second helping yet because I can't eat on a full stomach.
I can't sing on that side. Oh, I guess I have to sing on that side. Okay.
Would you like to make
It should be, I think. I was walking alone in the sunshine, did not know which way to go. Then the Lord, He turned the light on, changed my life, saved my soul. Let my light shine in the nighttime. Let it shine all day through. Let it shine, shine for Jesus. Let it shine, shine on you.
Banana cream pie. That was
Now I live for just one purpose, to let the Lord shine through me. And if His love can shine on others, then His Spirit can set them free. Let my light shine in the nighttime. Let it shine all day through. Let it shine, shine for Jesus. Let it shine, shine on you. Let it shine, shine on you.
I think they could play at any mini rally.
That's right.
I guess the purpose that we're all here is to honor a super couple who seem to do the impossible
and worked extremely hard to put something together. And that's Jim and Shirley Kruger. Should we have them stand right now and give them a little hand? Now we're going to have a poem by somebody very special in Jim and Shirley's heart, their daughter Sue.
You make me follow Katie and Randy? That's not nice at all. Oh well. Okay, this is it's a song, but I'll just talk the lyrics. I'm not a very good singer. Okay, this is the way that I feel today. I want to jump up and shout hooray. I have a wonderful feeling inside, a feeling I just can't hide. And so I'm singing this song for you, so you can share the feeling too. And if you listen to all that I say, happiness will come your way. There's a whole wide world outside your window, just waiting for you. But you gotta go out there and get it, if you're gonna make it all come true. If you can find someone to share it, then you're sure to win. Because that's when life is worth living, and that's where love really begins. If there are times when your spirits are low, raise up your voice and shout, hello. You'll find that someone will answer and say, come along and share today. And so I'm saying, just give it a try, and you will see the reason why. You'll find the feeling I'm talking about, and it'll make you want to shout. You'll find that that's when life is worth living, and that's where love really begins.
We'd like to welcome everyone here, but Joe forgot to introduce us and the rest of the people up here. I'm Charlene, that's Joe Kalina, if you didn't know. You sent your check to us. Okay, and this is Bob and Keithel, Schaubert. They're our speakers tonight. They're triple diamonds working on crown. Okay. Okay, what we are waiting for is to listen to Jim and Shirley. And this has been driving Shirley just about up a wall. So we have to get into this a little calmer. Right, Shirley? Yep. Okay.
Can I tell a story?
You can tell a story after. Okay. Just wait. Okay, I'd like to tell you a little bit about how we met Jim and Shirley. I mean, Joe met them first, I guess, and the first time I ever even saw Shirley, she came out to our house to butcher a beef. This is how we met. But we've really grown to just love them. But each time we'd be on our way to Fargo after Joe, sponsored them, and we'd stop and with some products or stop and talk to them, try to encourage them to get, different places, different rallies and everything. And we'd come out of there, usually out of his shop, right? Stop and talk to him in the shop, and Joe would say, they're going to do it. They're going to do it as soon as they can get away from their tide. Right? I bet she was at 15% before she really gave up that tide. And now she won't go back to it, I'm sure. But now Joe wants to say a little joke. Who's Joe?
I guess normally you're supposed to tell us a story or a joke when you get up here, but my sponsor's here, so we kind of took care of that. I want to introduce him, though, because they're very important in our life. His wife could not be. His wife couldn't be here tonight, but I'd like for him to stand. That's Larry Seibel. One more couple that we'd like to have stand And I guess they're the very important portion of this thing for Jim and Shirley. And that is their sponsor, Mike and Ruthani. But I do have to tell you one little story about Larry. And it's not really a story, I guess it's supposed to be a true story. Anyway, not so long ago, Larry called me on the phone, and he was all excited. And I thought maybe he had something important about the soap business to tell me. And he proceeded to tell me that he just missed winning a car at a golf tournament by 3 strokes. And I said, well, gee, that's pretty good, Larry. How did that come about? And he says, well, it was a hole-in-one contest. Should I say it again? Okay, at this point in time, we would like to introduce our featured speakers for this portion, Jim and Shirley Kruger.
Hi, and welcome to all of you for coming tonight. Yeah. I said what I'm going to say right now, so not your turn.
You are.
Yeah. I'll
That's
talk
nice
more.
of
I'll
you.
talk more later.
It's real nice
Yeah.
of you.
Okay.
We want to welcome everybody for coming to our banquet. We got a few things we'd like to thank Bob and Keithel for coming and sharing with us this evening. We'd like to thank so many people, and we don't know how to do it really in the right way. We'd like to thank Joe and Shar for putting up with us and keeping us motivated, I guess you'd call it. Our group, without them, we'd be nothing.
We wouldn't be here at all.
No.
We'd like our people to stand. Would you, our people
Yeah.
in our group, would you please stand? We'd like to thank the kids because many times when we were ready to quit, they said, no mom, no dad, you got to keep on going, you got to do this thing. And really, they've kept us going lots of times. Larry and Val. Val isn't here, but Larry, thanks a million. You've taken us over many humps too. And go on with our line of sponsorship probably.
We'd like to introduce our line of sponsorship, which is Mike and Ruth Downey.
We're sponsored by them. You guys stand.
Joe and Shar, our upline direct.
And
Our upline pearls, Larry and Val Seibel. Voting members, Clarence and Buell Seibel.
Grandpa and Grandma Seibel.
Gotta have them.
And last but not least is Triple Diamonds and Soon Crowns, Bob and Keithel Schaubert. Well, Jim, you're going to start out and tell me a little bit how we got approached on this soap business, okay?
Oh, that was wild.
Yep, it was wild.
Anybody know a little short insurance salesman? He come sailing into our shop one day. We were both there. Wife was doing bookwork, and I was working on vehicles. And he says, would you like to earn some extra money? Well, at that time, we
We needed
couldn't
extra
use
money.
any kind of money.
Lots of it.
So on noon hour, he showed us the plan. Well, you know how much time it takes to eat dinner and then to have the plan shown to you.
And understand it.
Yeah. About all I seen in it was some extra money for my wife. She could do some retailing. And there was no way I was going to get up and show the business. I tell you, that was way out of my line. I could have never remembered none of that stuff that he was showing. Well, we decided to get in, I guess, for a simple reason that Joe was our friend and we believed in him.
We also told him to hold a check for 2 weeks.
Well, that was the truth.
Didn't we, Joe? That was it, yeah.
At that time, you didn't dare take any chances. You know? Where is it?
You're talking about here. Okay. You've been a mechanic, right?
Yeah, for how many years?
Well, since
Since I was 15 years old.
Okay, but we won't tell you how old he is today now. But he just really wasn't ready to stand up in front of the blackboard and draw the circles. Well, we got in September. It'll be a year and 3 years in September now, and we didn't do anything with it all winter. And I used my tide. Yep, I had to have suds, you know. And I think Joe, he showed up in April, so I think he probably hibernates in winter time, right? Is that the way that goes? Anyway, I asked him, you know, if you're supposed to do this business and you're supposed to be selling something, weren't there some meetings or something that we should be going to learn about this? Because I had sold Tupperware, and I knew if you're going to sell something, you had to do something to learn about it, okay? So then we found out about the Skip and Sue Ross rally in May in Moorhead. And yeah, by the way, I had thrown out Band X then. And Joe said, well, that's the way it was supposed to be, so okay. And so we went to the rally, and that was really good.
What was it you told him about if the SA8 didn't work? Can't quite remember.
I don't remember that either, do you? I know
she made him promise something. I don't.
He
quite
really
remember
wrote
what
me about that SA8 and throw out my tide. Well, I did it anyway. But we didn't do too much with the business really until we went to Arrowwood when the Schaubert reunion is coming up now this coming weekend too. And then Dick and Dee Oshinger spoke for the rally. And they were super like everybody else you meet in this crazy soap business. And we got home on Monday, and Wednesday morning the phone rings and scared us half to death, and guess who it was? Yep.
Would you like to get a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning? And the first word you said, or he said, was, "Do it now."
Yeah, it was Joe.
Well, he made us promise to have 5 couples there that evening. He was coming down. Well, needless to say, there was no sleep from that time on.
He's an early riser, but got up unusually early that morning.
Yeah, I went to work at 3 o'clock. There was nothing much else to do, not with Joe coming down.
You had to get some people, right?
Right, yeah. Well, that evening, I don't know how many couples we had.
I don't remember either, but we had meetings 4 nights in a row. Boy, I cooked lots of
Wasn't
coffee.
you there first night, Dale? I
think
can't
so.
remember.
It was the first or
There were
second night
3
anyway
couples,
they
I
got in the
think, we had.
business. Anyway, we sponsored quite a few in those 4 days. And if you really poke them in there, it really helps if you just keep going one day after another. That's what Joe keeps telling us, and it really works. Anyway, we qualified in March of '79, and then in April we got flooded out. So it took us another year to get up to 25%. But then we qualified in May of this year, and it's been a lively summer to say the least. But Sue and Mark, they got engaged the 1st of May. Okay, so we were qualifying in May, and Susan says, but Mother, she says, you have to go direct, then voting member, and then plan this wedding. Oh, yeah, right, okay. Well, we made 2 out of 3, so that's not too bad. We made direct, and they got married, but we didn't make voting members.
No.
But we're going on to do this, okay?
Yeah.
But we're looking forward to the goals that Amway has to put forth for us. We just come back from Ada. We got back at 11 o'clock on Thursday night. And it's really out there, gang. It's super. They've thought of it 2 weeks before we've even began to dream about it even. And you just can't say enough about the company. They stand behind you, they talk to you, they visit with you, you got an answer, you just ask them. They'll give you an answer And they're just super. So we're just looking forward to goals that are coming our way, and with excitement and luck, which incidentally is spelled W-O-R-K. And with this marvelous company behind us and the super people that we're working with, how can you miss? You just can't. So the good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. We'll see you all on the beaches of the world. Thanks a billion.
Thank you.
I think what we'll do now, it's what, 7:25? Okay. We'll take a little break in the action, and then promptly at 8 o'clock, we'll let the gals clear the tables and so forth, and promptly at 8 o'clock we will start the rally portion. Okay? Now, gals, is there any way that you can get the cooks and everybody out here? Wasn't the meal superb? Huh? I think this meal was as good, if not better, than any meal we've had at any rally that Charlene and I have been to. Have the gals come out and everybody involved in it. Sherry, in between time, would you like to give us another number? Sing? Dance? Will you go get her, please? That's designating authority, right? Yeah. Okay, let's have the rest of the gals come on. Come on out here. Go. Yes. Take the ball, Ruth. Okay, let's take a break now, and then we'll start again promptly at 8 o'clock. Portion, the rally portion, with another song by Randy and Katie Meyer.
This one, my wife asked me how I'm going to tie this in with the meeting. I said, I'm not. Because I don't know how to tie it in. It's a song I enjoy singing because it talks about, you know, years ago, long before any of our time, they used to have what was called a brush arbor days, where they didn't have, the population was scarce around the countryside, so they'd all get together and like have a tent meeting. And we had one up in Daisy that we went to, and it was kind of neat because there's so many different churches and different doctrines and everything, and it was just nice to get together with a whole bunch of people from different churches and just have a good time together and talk and share with each other. And this is kind of what this song is about. It talks about the time where they just had a picnic on the ground, and strangers would walk in and not knowing what they'd getting into, I guess. Probably like some of you here. But don't worry, I'm not a preacher by any means. But anyway, they'd walk in and find out, you know, that there was this stuff going on. And it's nothing more than just religion, so I hope you enjoy the song. One day when I was feeling kind of sad and blue, with nothing going on, nothing else to do, a friend of mine came by and said, why don't you come on down to the all-day singing and dinner on the ground? Well, right away I found myself
seated in a pew, gathered with the people, enjoying something new. But the thing that I liked better than dinner on the ground was when everybody joined right in and sang the glory down. Ready? And they sang, I'm in the way, the bright and shining way. I'm in the glory land way. With their faces all aglow with such a happy sound. Everybody join right in and sing the glory down. Well, soon I got so happy. You want to clap your hands?
You blew my cue.
No, you gotta do it to beat. Okay, here we go. Well, soon I got so happy, my hands were clapping too. My cup was overflowing and I was feeling new. Then they started singing, I was lost but now I'm found. I opened up my heart and helped them sing the glory down. And they sang, I'm in the way, the bright and shining way. I'm in the glory land way. With their faces all aglow with such a happy sound. Everybody join right in and sing the glory down. And they sang, glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. With their faces all aglow with such a happy sound. All the saints would join right in and sing the glory down. And they sang, I'm in the way, the bright and shining way. I'm in the glory land way. With their faces all aglow and such a happy sound. All the saints would join right in and sing the glory down. All the saints would join right in and sing the glory down. Thank you.
There's one thing I forgot to do, and that's I'd like to have Jim's parents, Fred and Verna Kruger, would you please stand? And my mother, Mrs. Lucy Carlin from Fort Ransom, and give them a hand, because they help us a lot in the business. Thank you.
I guess you guys are the ones that started all this, right? Is Sherry here?
She went an errand. She's back.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll just have to bypass it. Now, I think before we go any further, let's give Randy and Katie one more hand. They did a super job. I think that does go with an Amway meeting. No doubt in my mind. Now we're going to go through the award system, and for some of you new people, maybe we could find out how many have been in this 9 or more years. Anybody in here been in this 9 or more years? Oh, it's kind of new here, huh? How about 6 years? Anybody? Please raise your hands. 6 years? Oh, yeah, nice. How about 5 years? Anybody 5 years? 4? 3? 2? 1? 6 months? Anybody less than 1 year? Let's have you guys stand. Let's give them a hand. Come on, stand up. That's exciting. See, you people that have been in a little bit longer, these people, this is why these meetings are so successful, it's because of the new people. And as we go through the awards, we're going to want the sponsor to come up and give the name and make the award. Now we're going to start out with the sales consistency pin, $100 in personal retail the first month. Do we have any of those? Come on, let's come on up.
I'm Randy Peterson from Fargo. My sponsor is Kevin and Julie Usatis from Enderlin, downline from Kruger's, and Keith and Kathy Schleck from West Fargo to get their sales consistency pin.
Okay, come on. I'm going to move this on this side, okay? So you can take your picture. Okay. There we go.
Where's Charlene and Joe? Charlene and Joe. No, this is Art and Beth Stevens, and we're so proud to give this Believer's Pin to Lauren, my nephew from Valley City. And he just joined us after 4th of July when Joe got a hold of him. And we're real proud of him, and we'd like to give him this pin.
Hi, Dale.
I'm Dale Kaiser. I'm sponsored by Jim and Shirley Kruger, and we got a new couple for the Believer's Pin, Ray and Kathy Schuler. We've already given it to them.
Anybody else?
I'm Bev Stevens. I knew she's been trying to imitate me, but this is ridiculous. How about the 3-month or 6-month, 9-month or 12-month, 18th month or 24-month consistency pin? That's doing 200 in PV per month for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months on down the line through 24. Anybody new that has this pin coming? Come on. Do you, Randy? Okay, come on. Okay, Randy and Katie, I imagine you better.
You're up line.
All I can do is sing. Randy Peterson was sponsored by Julie and Kevin Usatis, and Julie is my niece, and we're really proud of this guy because he's gonna take off. He's the one that keeps us working. You know, we keep checking with Jim and Shirley to find out what he's doing, and if he's doing real good, we go out and really work hard at it. And we're trying to find more people to sponsor so that he doesn't get ahead of us. But we really appreciate him. He's a go-getter, and he deserves a lot of credit.
Now a fairly new award. How about any new silver winners for sponsoring? Do we have any new silvers? That's sponsoring one in your first 90 days in the business. Sponsoring one.
Randy Peterson from Fargo, Keith and Kathy Schleck from West Fargo. They received their pin tonight. And I sponsor my aunt and uncle, but they couldn't make it tonight. And they sponsor their mom and dad, August and Helen Usatis. They get their pin tonight.
Larry Seibel, Fergus Falls, and Val and I sponsored our little boy in the business. Come here, Mom. He's got his silver coming.
Way to go, Monty.
Your dad's supposed to shake your hand.
Yeah, come back here, Larry, shake hands.
So nice, eh?
But you come back.
I'm Dale Kaiser, and Ray and Kathy Schuler have got their silver pin coming.
Thanks, Dale.
Anybody else? Now, I want two of these couples, or not, I guess it's not a couple, but two of the ones that come up for silver to stand up again, because I want you really to take a look at what an age barrier there is in this business. Would you guys please stand up again? Monty, come on, August, and you're right. Look, really an age barrier. I think that's super. Any new gold Inner Circle winners? Gold is sponsoring 5 in your first 90 days. Anybody new? Okay, we have some people that are on the verge. If they're silver, they can go for their gold, and they'll get it at Arrowwood, which happens to be next weekend. And if you're interested in all in the business, you should be there. But there's no reason that you guys can't have your gold when you get there. That means that you're building the business. Okay, how about the 750 plaque? Anybody have a 750 plaque coming? Randy? Okay, how about 1500 plaque? That's doing 1500 in volume? Okay, come on.
Well, anybody with a first name Randy's got to do good, right? Randy Peterson. Okay, your medal or deal is coming? Okay. Do it right this time.
Anybody else, the 1500 plaque? Okay, how about the 3000 plaque? Anybody have the 3000 plaque? Huh? Anybody have it coming? Do you have it coming, Chip?
I haven't figured it out. I don't even know.
3000 plaque? Take a chance. Dale and Carol?
Yeah.
Well, tell them to come on up here then. Okay.
I was trying to get it out of him over here when we was talking, but we couldn't quite get it all together. What do you mean we got to tell you what we got going? Huh?
What do you got coming, Gerald?
Just make sure they divvy up to him.
Oh, yeah. That's what Keithel said here a while back, that if you got it coming, just let us know. So that's what I'm telling you. Just, tell us about it.
Tell us what you have coming. Get right up here and you got it.
I don't know.
We got 18 months, the 24 months, and the 15, 3,000.
And you didn't come out.
We got 18 months, 24 months.
In my...
My voice carries. We got the 18 month coming, the 24 month coming, the $3,000 plaque. That's all.
Anybody have the 7500 plaque coming? Anybody want the 7500 plaque? Huh? Okay, come on, let's go get it. How about 15% producers? Producers pin. 15% level, 1500 in PV. Anybody new?
I hit that last
Okay. Anybody new? Come on forward. Don't be bashful. Now, even if you're sponsored. How about the 21% level? The 4,000 in PD. Anybody new? How about silver producers? I know we've got some new silver producers since the last rally that we had, right? Anybody new here? Nobody's going to be, everybody's bashful. How about new directs? Come on. Any new directs? I know we have some of those. Come on, let's go. Okay. I think there's some more out there too. Come on, don't be bashful.
We're Dennis and Helene Fossum from Cooperstown, and we have some new directs here. They're sponsored by, by Hazel and Lila Hagen. They're not here tonight, but we'll step in and take their place. Glenn and Evelyn Brandville from Cheyenne, North Dakota. Why don't you read it off afterwards?
Any new rubies? Any new rubies? Any new pearls? Are there any new pearls from the last, we'll say in the last 6 months or last year? I know we have a couple pearls in the room, so why don't we have them stand? Come on, pearls. Great. For you new people, a pearl is 3 7,500% groups in 1 month. That's what I said. 7,500, 25% groups in 1 month. Any new emeralds? Emeralds to be?
Yes.
Okay, let's have the emeralds to be stand. Again, emerald is 3 groups becoming voting members. You know, that's one that I missed too, wasn't it? That's probably the most important one. Are there any new voting members in here? Just about voting members. Let's have them stand. Come on. Yeah. Okay. That's 6 months, 7,500 or more. How about any new diamonds?
A lot of them to be.
Yeah, there's lots to be. Anybody that wants to be a diamond, let's have your hands up here. Huh? There we go. All right. How about double diamonds? Boy, it's starting to get scarce in here, isn't it? How about triple diamonds? Any new triple diamonds? Come on, triple diamonds, stand up. Any new crowns? Now, I suppose I should tell everybody what triple diamond is. Everybody understand what a triple diamond is? A triple dipper? Anybody that doesn't, don't be afraid to ask. That's having 16 or more legs doing 7,500. Wow, isn't that neat? Terrible permanent income. I hate to admit that. How about any new crowns?
Pretty soon.
Pretty soon crowns. Okay, how about crown ambassadors? Oh, wow, pretty soon. Okay, you better hurry up. Okay, from this point on, I guess this piece of literature that I have here, and I think it's very important, this piece of literature does just about anything and everything in the whole business, from the very beginning to the top, and it shows you what and where you can go with this business. I think it's the most important piece of literature involved in the kit because it really does exemplify where you can go in this business. I think that the 100 point producer on up to the Crown Ambassador are all equal in importance. You have to start at one place and then go to the next. Okay, what we all came here for tonight, and not only to honor Jim and Shirley Kruger, but this portion is to have a couple. I don't know if I can tell you anything about them. They've been in the business almost 8 years. Is that about right? Almost 8 years. From a poor farmer. Well, you weren't poor, okay. From a farmer and his wife to the Amway business does not really even sound logical. But this couple exemplifies what Amway is all about as far as I'm concerned. They're super people, and they've come a long ways, all the way from Fargo, to share with you a little bit about this business. So let's give a round welcome to Bob and Keithel Schaubert, Triple Diamonds.
I think Joe was right in saying it doesn't fit a farmer to an Amway distributor. Really, it doesn't. And I'm sure a lot of your backgrounds are probably the same. How many people here have never heard us speak before? I want to see your hands that have never heard us speak before.
Oh, good.
Good. There's somebody new here listening. That's good because
I've heard you at least 4 or 5 times. I'm still going to listen.
she makes it sound good. Well, we're going to start from somewhere, so we'll start from scratch. Thank you. You can pay afterwards. No. We'll start back a ways. You probably wonder how farm people get in the Amway business. Now, some of you people, we have some farmers here tonight that are in the business, and quite a few. In fact, we've got some retired farmers here tonight. As of November of this year, we'll be retired farmers, or I should say tired farmers, not old enough to retire yet, but tired farmers that are full-time Amway now. You can probably hear more of them. Well, I think that's kind of neat when people in their young 39 or so retire or get out of farming and go full-time in this business. Why don't you stand, Carl and Edie? That's the couple that's going to do that, November 1st. 29, right? Yeah. Okay. They're direct distributors from Mapleton, and they're going to hang up the tractor. They're just going to take a little hook and hang it up there, and that's going to be it for now. And they're moving into Fargo when? Anytime. They got a brand new house in Prairie Wood Drive in Fargo, and they're going to be city slickers. Now that's going to be quite a transition from farmer, Amway, and then city slicker right away. You know what I mean? From the farm to city. We didn't do that. We went to a little community. So but anyway, that's enough of that. Oh, she says stick to the script. The script says. You didn't tell us you're going to do that afterwards. You can go ahead. No, you want to do it afterwards. Okay. Well, I'll tell you how it is, guys. Gals, if I don't talk first, I never get a chance to talk when she gets up here. So I got to make it good while I'm here. And I'm not like Joe. I don't know any good stories. I don't even know any dirty ones. I don't know any clean ones either, so we'll forget about stories. But I'm going to start back a little bit and tell you where I come from. Keithel can add a little to where she come from. Both the same area, of course. We lived about 7 miles apart. But I went to country school south of Bowdon. Bowdon's a little town, center part of North Dakota here, of 250 people. And I was born and raised about 15 miles south of there. And I went to country school for the first 8 years. I was the only one in my class, so I didn't have anybody to, I didn't have to get up in front of the class and speak or anything like that, or talk or anything, so I grew up kind of as a shy kid, really, as far as in front of people. I could sit around or stand around and talk to people, but I couldn't get up in front of groups. And so when we went into high school, the big town of Bowdon, there was at least, I don't know, 100 kids there, I suppose, in high school, big school. Maybe it wasn't that many. And so I kind of slipped through there without doing that. And after high school, my 2 older brothers went to college, went to the service, so I was the only one home, so I stayed home and helped farm, so I didn't go to college. And I didn't, stand in front of cattle and stuff, and that doesn't count for standing in front of people to talk. And some of you out there tonight are probably thinking, well, we've been speaking all around and doing all this, it's easy to do. Well, I want you to know, when we started this business, I couldn't do it either. But it's something we could learn to do. And so we got started in farming when we got married, Dad helped us get started. We had a pretty good start there. We weren't starving to death or anything like that. We had a nice living. We're doing well. But after 16 years of it, I started getting tired of it. And, I knew I would do it the rest of my life because that's all I knew how to do. But 8 years ago, September 20th of this year, it'll be 8 years back, it's 1972, Keithel's cousin and her husband wrote us a letter and said, we're coming up to your house this weekend. We're going to show you a way where you can be financially able to retire in 3 to 6 years. Now, how many of you folks ever found a deal like that before? Not counting Amway now, I mean. And, I read the letter, and I read it again, and Keithel read it, and I think she even read it to me, and it didn't make sense. What kind of a gimmick, if it's honest, could you get into do that? And so I said to her, well, it sounds like to me like it'd be something shady or crooked or something like that, maybe. The only way you could retire in 3 to 6 years. They didn't tell us what it was. They came up and they showed us that Saturday evening. Larry was there and Val was there. It was at Keithel's sister's place, so we all took a look at the business. Now, he wasn't a very big thinker because he came up to show 3 couples the business and only brought 1 kit. So I don't know, he was just new in the business too. He probably only had 1 kit on hand, what it was. Didn't have a backboard or anything yet, so we all stood around the table and sit around the table watching draw circles on a piece of paper. Can you imagine? I don't know what you folks thought the first time you seen somebody draw those dumb circles, but it kind of wanted to make you laugh when you see a grown man drawing circles, So we seen the business. Sounded interesting. He's a good talker, and he'd done a good job, explained it, and then done some demonstrations, and things were really, really going. And I thought, well, maybe this is something we can make a few extra bucks. Now, Keithel's got a little different theory on that, so you'll hear from her in a little bit too. But anyway, I started doing a little in the business, and as we went along, it was fall that time, so I was moving haystacks. The crop was pretty well all harvested, and I was moving haystacks for the neighbors, so I didn't have time to start the business. And at this point, I'll tell you how it really was that night. Or I should say Keithel will.
It was horrible. After I heard it was Amway, I didn't want anything to do with it. And of course, Larry didn't either, and my older sister didn't either. And we went into the living room and we laughed about it. And I'm sure a lot of you have done that already too. Probably since you're in the business, you laughed too. I know I cried a lot too. But I didn't see anything in this business. For 2.5 years, I didn't see anything in this business. For 2.5 years, I tried to get Bob to quit this business. And I'm sure a lot of you were sitting there too, thinking, should we quit or should we go on? Well, go on. It's well worth it, I'll tell you. But I don't know, I guess sometimes we ask ourselves this question, why did we get in? Why did we get into this business? Why did we sign the application? And sometimes when you're feeling down and things aren't going the way you really want them to go, I think those are the times we have to ask ourselves, what did we see or what did we want out of the business when we first seen it and signed the application? What was the dream that you seen? And to Bob and I guess, after I had finally convinced 2.5 years later that maybe we could do this business, for us it was freedom. Freedom from a farm that we had 3 daughters and no sons to carry on, and freedom from a job, more or less, you can call farming a job, for my husband who was tiring of it and wanted a way out, wanted more out of life. And I think that's a dream that Bob and I really had those days, because we used to talk about things like, man, there's got to be more out of life than just hard work. I remember Bob saying that to me many, many times. It'd be nice to travel. Bob and I love to travel, and now we're doing a lot of traveling. But that was one of the dreams. And I know when Bob signed the application, I signed it too, forcefully, because I knew if it did work, he wouldn't share none of that money with me if he ever made any. But for him in the beginning, I knew it was just maybe making a couple extra $100 a month. Because, I don't know how it is with you folks, but back then it seemed like we were always a couple hundred short. Some of the bills didn't get paid maybe, or maybe that new car that we always wanted to have on the farm, we never had a new car. We always drove demonstrators and things like that. So I remember that during those 2.5 years of struggling with myself, nobody else but with me, it was, if we could do it, why should we do it? Why should we go on? You know, because there was times when, we wanted to throw up our hands and say, let's go back to farming. But I'm really thankful that at 15% we did sell that farm. This was, 3 years later, I guess, into the Amway business. I look back now, and I'm really thankful that we made that decision to sell that farm at 15%. Because sometimes we use crutches in this business. And I think, looking back now, if we had not sold that farm, we would have gone back and said, well, we really didn't want to travel. You know, farming isn't that bad. And I just wonder about it sometimes. I wonder if we had not sold the farm, we wouldn't have said, oh, well, let's go back to the way the other people live. So many of us, sometimes when the going gets tough, it's always easy to go back and join the ones that just live ordinary lives. You think about that. And I think, I often wonder, Bob and I would have been the two that would have done that. I don't know, we've come a long ways in the years that we've been in the business. And we can talk about our lives, your lives, where you're going, where we're going. A lot of you heard our story, so some of you haven't, and maybe we'll touch on some things, but is it worth it? Oh, you bet it is. You bet it is to build your own business. There's no greater benefit in the whole world to own your own business where you have control, where nobody else has control over you. And I think that's basically all of us in this room and in the Amway business, where we all strive for that, because some of you probably own your own business, and it's not that much fun to have a lot of employees. We know a lot of people that can't wait to have the freedom of this business so they can get rid of their job that they have, their business that they have. And, you know, you're not going to get rich overnight. It's going to take work. And it's going to take a lot of work. And it's going to take commitment out of you, persistence out of each one of you. And Bob and I are absolutely no different than you people out there. We're just like you. Absolutely. And that's the hardest part for Bob and I now, is to watch some of you people lose your dream and are not willing to go on and fight for whatever you see when you sign the application. Because it's there. It's going to take some time, and you're not going to sleep some nights, and you're going to be tired. But when you look at it the other way, that is it worth it? Then you start counting your blessings about how great this thing really is. And you see, if I can only get through to each one of you, it's there for you. Amway has all kinds of triple pins there at the company. We have all kinds of crown pins. And Bob and we're going to have one of those pins one of these days, and you will too, if you just keep believing and fighting. I had a gal at the center the other night. In fact, it was one that Monty brought. And she was talking to me about the company. I says, you do not have to doubt this company. It's sound. It's proof in its way. And if you don't believe us, go check the company out. I mean, man, we hide nothing, because it's all there, And so you people have control of something so great. The only thing is, do you have control over yourself? And that's where you really have to start answering and looking at this business, is through yourselves. Bob and I have, we've grown in so many, many ways. Just to talk to you people tonight, whoever thought 8 years ago that we could even do something like that? And then, of course, we spoke in front of 12,000 people at the convention, and that was exciting.
Well, I'd like to put a plug in here. They taped that at the convention. We're on a tape that Amway's put out, and we'll get royalties. So I want every one of you to buy at least 1,000 of them or so, okay? That'll help a lot.
And Bob promised me not just too long ago that I can have all the royalties from that tape. So sell lots of them, okay? Yeah, whoever thought something like that would happen too. I guarantee you, if you build this business, you're gonna go on in this world, and you're gonna find things about yourselves that never in the world you'd dream would happen to you. And of course, that's happening to us also. It's also a growing business within yourself, and also it's an exciting business to watch the growth in other people. I can about imagine how our sponsors, the Culkins, were excited about watching the growth in Bob and I. And I'm sure for 2.5 years they thought I was completely dead because I was so negative. But yeah, they probably wanted to transfer me out, I'm sure. I mean, she did a lot of talking to me. And sometimes, and I really appreciate her for her honesty, because Jen Calkins would always take me aside and tell me things that I didn't like to hear, but I needed to hear. And sometimes when your sponsor comes up and tells you something that you probably aren't too happy, it's just that they're doing it out of love for you, so you will learn and change and go forward. Larry and Jan Calkins have been our inspiration to do the business. You are the inspiration of the people that you bring into the business. Do you believe that? You really are. If you sponsor one person, you are the inspiration to these people. You must go on and build the business if you expect your people. You see, because leaders keep leading. Leaders keep leading all the way. Even sometimes when you'd like to stop, but leaders keep leading. And even if you would like to close the door on Amway and never hear of it again, if you're a leader, you will move forward all the time. I have to just say about Randy here. I told the Krugers that if they would want to sponsor him or release him, I want him. I'm always excited when Randy comes into the office there in Fargo, because he always has a smile on his face, and I appreciate that, Randy, because you make my day. You really do. It's always exciting when people come in and they're excited, and maybe he's not that excited about where his business really is, but he knows where it's going to go, and that's exciting. And just like each one of you, maybe things aren't going so great this year in your business. So be it. You're in it for life, right? It'll be better next year if you do what it takes to build a business. Whatever you want, and I really mean that. Amway's it's different. It's a different business because you're dealing with people. You're touching lives. You've got to be in the business for a while to really understand how this thing really works. It's, all people aren't going to build it. All people aren't going to get into this business. Sometimes it's hard for me to understand that. And Bob always says, well, look, it took you 2.5 years to get your thinking straight. And so he always sets me up right where I should be again. And but now, I guess what I'm trying to say is, the higher we go in this business, the greater the business becomes. And so we look at all of you people, and we want you to have it too. We want you to have it too. We want you to experience what we have experienced in building this business. And we want you to cry the tears that we have cried, because that all goes with it. Any business has its ups and downs. I don't care what it is, you know. But the only thing different is this business is your business. But the only thing is, guys, you know, we're going on. Are you? And I think that's what you have to ask yourself the question. And sometimes we get so busy talking. We're all good talkers, aren't we? I can remember I used to stand up and say, oh man, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And we get home and Bob say, how come you said that? Well, I don't know. I was excited. We always say things, when we're excited that we're going to do. But then, you go home that night, and then the next morning, the excitement isn't all there. All those people that were at that rally, they're not there. Wouldn't it be fun if we could just sponsor each other? But see, Amway says that's not the way it works. You have to go out in the negative world, and basically, the world is negative out there. It's sorry to say, but there are just a lot of negative people out there. And that's our job, is to go out and find those that are not happy with what they're doing or want more. I don't care what it is. Want something out of life. Well, you have it in the Amway business, and you really don't know where they're at. And that's our job, is to find them. And there was many times we didn't know where they were. Man, I tell you, it was when we were just getting going in the business, I used to say, there's nobody out there like us. And farm was gone, and man, we couldn't find nobody that was like us, that wanted this business. But Bob was a believer, and he said, there's got to be somebody out there like me. And so we would drive, and most of you know we started out building the business in Minot, North Dakota, which was 100 miles from us. And we made 9 trips there, and the 10th one, we finally found that person that said, yeah, man, I've been looking for something like this. And of course now, what did we count the other day? There's what? 9 directs in that one, all qualified directs in that one leg up there. And they're all excited, and people probably up there aren't excited right where they're out in the business right now, but man, I tell you, they know where they're going, and that's exciting. And so, you see, it's persistence that builds the business. It's persistence to keep you going. What is it that's going to make you go out night after night, or even if it's 2 nights a week? What is it, that's going to keep you going? Well, I feel it's your dream. What do you want? And always ask yourself, what is it that I want out of this business? And when you are tired at night and you would like to stay home, then ask yourself, why did we get in? What is it that I want? Will I get it by staying home tonight? Well, you ask yourselves those questions. We did that many, many times. And not only that, but when your kids get excited about it, that's really exciting, because if you stay home at night, then your kid will say, what's the matter? Can't you find somebody to draw circles tonight? Now, if that don't get you moving, then I don't know. That happened to us many times, especially from Candy, our 21-year-old. She was our motivator. And there were times that she just really got after her dad, too, I'll tell you, and it really helped. There was times that I did not want to go with Bob to a meeting. I used every excuses from the kids. Kids needed me at home. I needed to do this. I needed to do that. And he would just say, that's all right, honey, because that's what an ordinary person would do. And he'd go and get dressed to go.
I had to get back at her a little bit for what she did to me, and some of you haven't heard this, so I'm going to tell it. But when I went out to call on the first customer that in the business, now this was my business because she didn't want anything to do with it, but when I went to call on our neighbors, they lived about a mile away, when I left for their house, she called her neighbor and Elaine and told her not to buy anything because she figured I'd quit then. So I had to get back at her some way. But I come home and surprised her because I sold her $35 worth of products. That was my first sale. It was a neat one.
I did lots of other things, but I wouldn't even tell you about that. I didn't use the products either until I was forced to, and the way I was forced to was Bob took a great big box one day and went around and put all brand X in the box and took it out to the dump and replaced everything with Amway, and I was mad at him for a week for that. But I was rotten, really, really bad. But I've changed. You can change in this business. And I'm excited about my change, my growth. I really am. And you know what? I never realized how negative I was those days. Isn't it amazing? I never realized how bad I really was.
Terrible.
And now that I've changed, and I'm no longer the negative, but the positive, and now I look back at the way I was those days, and I can't, it's hard for me to believe that. But see, that's another thing that happens to you in the Amway business as you grow. Some of the benefits that have happened to us is, of course, a lot of personal growth. That is for both Bob and I, and our kids, our girls too. And it's all for the best. Our 3 daughters, Cindy now is married, and her and Glenn have been on a 3-month music ministry, and they were in Europe, and it was really exciting because last week we surprised them. We went down to Blue Springs, Missouri, and shocked them. Mom and Dad went with us, and they didn't know we were coming, and that was exciting. And they're going to be back with us at Arrowwood, and a lot of you that are coming, you'll hear on Sunday morning. You'll hear about their experiences that they've had over the. And what's really neat is, just this morning, Candy, our 21-year-old, has been taking care of Cindy and Glenn's business while they've been gone the 3 months. And I asked Candy, I said, Candy, I says, how are the kids doing financially? And she says, Mom, you wouldn't believe it. And the kids have not been home to work their business, but their business has grown. And the kids have got money in the bank, and I know the kids will be surprised. It's amazing how much they don't spend when they're not home. But it only goes to prove this business, when you built it, you can walk away from it, and it will go on without you. And I know that they're going to be excited about that when they get home. Candy is 21, and this is her last month for Bowdon member, and she's going to make it. It's really exciting because she put an all-out bulletin to her organization and said, I need to be, I want to be Bowdon member, and would you help? It's unbelievable, the help that people, if they want to, will give in this business. And boy, she's got some troopers that are really out there plugging for her too. And she's only 21, and the other day she, the 18th PV check came, and she, of course, she does her own thing too, and she just told me, she said, Mom, I went and put $700 in savings today. And that's exciting, man. That kid's got more money than we have practically already. I tell you, I don't know. And then our youngest one is 15, going on 21. And it's exciting because Bob and I have the freedom to do the things that excites Tammy right now. And of course, she's in love with horses, and she joined high school rodeo this year. And maybe that doesn't excite you, but it excites Bob and I because we've been traveling with her, and she just bought her 4th horse yesterday. She did some roping, and she's excited about that, and she loves to be a cowgirl. But I don't know, the reason I'm telling you this is because we've got the freedom to do the thing, those kind of things. I mean, horses don't excite Bob and I, rodeo doesn't excite us, but yet it excites us that we can do right now what's important in her life. And we also have the finances that she wanted a roping horse, and she got a roping horse. And of course, she had to work for it too. But these are some of the things that we couldn't have done on the farm. And the traveling and all these things go with it. If you love to travel, hey, you'll love it. Man, I tell you, it's first class. And it's taken us 8 years to get here. You can do it a lot faster. Each one of you in this room can do it a lot faster if you so wish to. Bob and I had a lot of growing to do in the business. We had a lot of the company. It wasn't strong in North Dakota. We had to wait 4 weeks to get our products when we started. Now, shoot, you call in on Tuesday, you get it on Friday. And so you got everything there to help you. In fact, I told somebody the other day, you got too much. You got it too easy. You got everything. You got a beautiful center in Fargo. There's a lot of other places now that are starting centers. You've got people you got Drex walking around all over. You've got all the help. All you have to do is seek and ask, and it'll be given. It's like it says, huh? All you have to do. And back when Bob and I started, it wasn't there. I mean, we had no help. When we called, we used the telephone a lot, but there was thousands of miles between us and our sponsor. And so, I don't know, But all I know is, what do you want out of the Amway business? What is your dream? Why did you sign the application? That's only up to you. But I'm here to say is that, hey, no matter what it is or who you are, you can have it. If Bob and I can do it, anybody can do it. And that's the way it is at Diamond Club. Man, you see all kinds of people at Diamond Club. And you look at these diamonds. There's no difference. There's blind people there. There's an 85-year-old couple at Diamond Club. They're excited. There was a new diamond that just spoke at Rich's house here, the last Diamond Club that we had. They'd been in the business, what, 2.5 years? The couple that, he's 70, 65 years old. They'd been in the business 2.5 years, and they went from nothing to diamond. And how was it? I thought it was so unique the way she said it. She said, you know, they always say life begins at 40. Forget it. She said it begins at 60 in Amway. So, and then, you know, somewheres in our travels, I shook hands with a 19-year-old emerald. You know, 3 dregs broke away, he was 19 years old. And so, you know, there's doctors, there's dentists, there's lawyers, there's farmers, there's every walk of life, every age that there is a Diamond Club. And I wish you could, you know, if you just see that Diamond Club and you look at them and you think, hey, there's no difference. There's no difference between them and me. You know, some come from large areas of population, you know, and some, like Bob and I, you know, where we built our diamond ship, was a little town of 250 people. So, you know, there's no excuses. See, so it's the desire. It's the desire and the want. You know, and if you want more out of life, and whatever it is, you know, lots of people say, well, I go to these rallies and people talk money, 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 money. You know, and they'll say, well, money isn't everything. And I said, no, poverty isn't either. You know, rich people can help people. Poor people can't. And that's the way I look at it. You know, it's exciting now that we do have the funds, that if people do need help, and we have helped lots of people already. I mean, I'm not saying that to brag, but we have helped a lot of people. And it makes me feel good that we've had the funds to help people. But that's why we're here on this earth, is to help. And I feel we've helped people much, much more than just funds. You know, we've helped a lot of people just to believe in themselves. And you will too. You've helped a lot of people already, and you don't even know it. So I could chatter here all night, but Amway's our life. There's no other life than Amway. The longer we're in it, the greater it gets. And you know why it gets greater? It's because people like you. You are the people that make Amway greater. You know, you have the ups and the downs, but I want to tell you there's so many more ups than there are downs. And if you have a down, all you have to do is go put a new person into the business, and that's an up. We just put a new couple in the other night that came to the center that our Tammy, our 15-year-old girl, really sponsored them. And it was her teacher that was teaching her how to rope. And all Daddy had to do was go out and pick her up and put the finishing touches on. And he invited them into the center, and they signed up. So we told Tam when she gets going into the business that someday they will be hers, because she's the one that really got them motivated to even look at it. So it's been great chatting with you, and you're the ones that need to be recognized tonight. I'll tell you, these two over here are a team of champions in my eyes. I can remember some telephone calls.
Well, that wasn't for me.
It's really hard to build a business with him. But anyway, I can remember some telephone calls from Shirley and from Jim. You know, when they're qualifying, some of those months get kind of tense. You know, and it takes teamwork. It takes teamwork to build this business. And I always say, and I'll say it here tonight, if you're not willing to work as a team, when it's your turn, it's not going to work for you either. If you're not willing to help somebody else, then forget it, because it's not going to come back to you. That's just the way I feel. And I know that Shirley and Jim really had some troopers, because they told us, and it all came through too. And man, when your turn is ready to go with that 7,500, you're going to have the teamwork too. And that's why Amway's growing, so it's because it's a team of champions. And I feel we all are team, we're just a bundle of champions. And I'm glad that I'm with your team. Thank you.
Oh, what a lively bunch out there. You know, some of you out there are probably wondering, where do you find people that are going to make directs? Some of you wonder about that? Some of you, especially new people just getting started in the business, where are they? Where do you find them? I'd like to tell you about one of them, a few of them here. In fact, I'll just talk about the ones that are here. Clarence and Bueller, where are you? Okay, stand up. There's one of our directs, the Ma and Pa. So go sponsor your parents if you want a direct. And then they've been direct quite a few years, and they sponsor a soon-to-be Emerald. And another couple, if you're building the business, folks, if you're serious with it and you are a direct distributor and things are happening, other directs come by. And sometimes it comes a little easier. Sometimes they call you and want to get in the business. Now, we haven't had anybody do that yet, but almost. I'd like to have Doris and Larry Sharon stand from Cooperstown. They're Pearl directs. Oh, she left you already? Okay, she's out sponsoring, okay. Larry and Doris, Sharon, one day, I don't know if I get this straight or not, because I tell the story all the time, but he's here now, so I got to try and get it straight. One day on a Saturday, Larry was driving down the road. He's selling cars for Finley Motors at that time. Lived in Cooperstown, was selling for Finley Motors, and he was driving down the road and just tooling along, and once Paul Harvey says, you can get in business for a price of a pair of shoes. Have a business of your own. I guess he thought that sounded pretty good. So he wrote down the toll-free number, and when he got home, he checked it out, and Monday morning he called that number, and they said, he said, this is Larry Sharon, I'd like to know more about the Amway business. Now, Amway won't do anything themselves. What they do, they send leads like that back to the closest direct distributor that's doing something. We lived at Bowdon, that was 75 miles away, and we were the only direct distributor in the area at that time. Next closest one would have probably been Fargo, because that was about 3 years ago, Larry? That was 3 years ago, okay? So, we get a letter from Amway, and also Larry and Doris got a copy of that, that's saying that, Larry and Doris Sharon would like know more about the business, so I get the letter, I call them, and we go over and show them the business, and here they are. That's a direct distributor. Now, if we would have never built the business direct, we would have never got that lead. Somebody else would have. So they'd be a direct in somebody else's group. That's why it's important to build this business, because those things come along. We've had rather few leads from some things like that some are still working, some aren't doing too much, but it all depends. It's there for everybody. And then we've got some, we moved to Fargo 3 years ago. And didn't really get to know our neighbors too well, but the next spring we flooded. That's when we really got to know our neighbors, because we had swell neighbors. I'd like to have Steve and Jan Knox stand, please. There we are. Thank you. Direct distributors. You missed it, Doris. Sorry about that. You would have got recognition, now you didn't. Anyway, that's Doris. So, during the flood, we got to know Steve and Jan real good, because there were 3 houses down from us, and they didn't flood, but they helped everybody else that was flooding. And so we had to do a little sandbagging, and they helped us, and we helped his folks sandbag back, and things like that. And one day, I don't know how it all came about, but anyway, they said, hey, we got something I'd like to share with you, and we invited them over, showed them the business, and direct distributors. Now, that doesn't happen with everybody. You don't sit down with everybody and show them the business, and they sponsor them, and they all go be direct right away. But you see, that's their own choosing. But that's how directs come. They'll come from people. Steve's a professional engineer. Clarence and Beulah are apartment managers. Doris and Larry, they were car salespeople. Now they're full-time. And let's see, we have any more personal directs here? That's probably about it for here, I think. But that's what happens. That's where directs come from. They come from just people. It doesn't make any difference what occupation, what they do. Because you see, this business is exactly the same for every person that ever signed up into it. They all have the same business. They all have the same circles. They have everything the same. But it's their own choosing if they don't build a business. Because we have the right to choose whether we want to build it or we don't. How fast we want to build it is our choosing also. But if you want to build it in a hurry, hey, there's ways you can do that, if you're willing to put forth some effort. If you want to take your time, you can do that too. I don't recommend it, but you can. Because there's lots of things that are happening in the world of Amway today. A time of recession. Now, we'll know after the end of this month, but I think we're looking at a 50 to 60% increase in volume over last year again. We will be over $1 billion company this year, at the end of this month. Now, I don't know how many of you know this, what $1 billion company is, but there's only, well, I'll reword that, there's not too many. When Amway started 21 years ago, they were 13 millionth from the top. There was 13 million companies at that time, and they started, they were nothing. After 21 years, we will be, after August 31st of this year, we will be in the top 270 corporations. In the top 270. Now, I'll tell you, that's going some, folks. Why? Because it's people like you out there. It's people like you that are doing a little here and a little there, sponsoring people and selling some products. That's why it's working. Another reason why Amway is successful and why it always will be is because you can never get anywhere in this business unless you help other people first. Now, isn't that the way it should be? You help other people, and when you help other people get what they want, you'll have what you want. But you cannot do it without other people, because that's what we do here. We involve other people. We involve people to help them have a better way of life. And you'll have somebody come up and say, well, Amway isn't for everybody. I say, no, it's not for everybody. Amway is only for people who want more out of life. Whether it's more money, more time to spend with their family, more time to hunt or fish, more time to travel, more time to do the things they want. That's the only people it's for. If you don't want any of those things, hey, don't get into business. And there's some people that don't. So they don't want any of those things. And then Keithel mentioned a little bit about money. That's all you talk about is money. Well, materialistic. Oh, you're too materialistic. Well, let me tell you something. Talk about churches, hospitals, homes for the aged, orphanages. All these takes money, don't they? Those things take money. That's materialism. And you know what I found out in this business? You and I don't really need money. Seriously, you and I don't really need it. But every time you go to buy something, what do? They ask for money, don't they? See, it's the other people who always want the money. It's not us. It's the other ones, see? So you got to have some of that to give to them when they want it. So that's what we're looking at. That's why we can help other people. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Van and Sterling Krause. Now remember, Amway is only 21 years old. They started 21 years ago. How many here of you people think that in your lifetime you could give $1 million to mission work? Anybody could do that? In your present status, business, whatever you're in? Probably not. Last year, from the time Krause started the business, in fact, when they started this business, she didn't know it was for her or not, so she said one day she just went up and knelt by her bed and said, Lord, if this business is for us, you bless it and we'll go 50-50. And she says, I never believed the Lord would bless it so well. So they've been going 50-50 with the Lord, and last year, up to last year, they had given $1 million to mission work. Now, how many other people can do that? Now, if it wouldn't be for this business, they wouldn't be able to do that, I'm sure, because they were turkey farmers. Turkey farming, you get like other farming, you get some good years, you get some bad. You get a bad one, it takes you 3 good ones to catch up. Those kind of things. That's just some of the things we talk about what money can do. Now, there's one thing bad. If money goes to your head, of course, then it's wrong. No question about that. But you know, we at Diamond Club are with all the top, you might say the top earners in the Amway business, and I have not met one yet that the pin or the money or that has gone to their head. And I'm serious about that. Because when you build this business and you keep on building it, you have to be down at other people's level, at the new people that are just getting in the business, otherwise you'd never build it. And that keeps you humble, because you're always talking to people that are new people. Some people probably don't have a job, some people have no money, probably some people have a lot of money. It doesn't make any difference. That's what's neat about our business, because it is for everybody. It doesn't make any difference if you have any money or you don't have any money. It doesn't make any difference if you're tall or short, right, Clarence? He's tall. He can do it too. Okay? It doesn't make any difference if you're black or white or green or male or female or any of those things. It doesn't make any difference if you're blind or wear glasses or don't wear glasses. The business doesn't say that. It says this business is for everybody who wants it. But you see, the thing is, you have to want it yourself. You have to have a desire to want it. You have to have a reason why you want to build it. And what it is, we can't give you the reason. That you have to have yourself. And I don't really know what our reason was for me at first. Main reason was to make a little extra money. Now, when somebody would have told me that one day I'd be talking in front of 12,000 people at a convention, I would have told them they're full of baloney. because I couldn't get up in front of 2 people and talk. Then when they go and they call us one day and say, hey, you did such a good job at the convention, we'd like to make a tape of it. Will you sign this consent thing? And then you get royalties. Well, I tell you, for a farmer, that's come a long way. I'll be honest with you. Really, it has. Because it's some of those things you never ever think of in life, especially for me, growing up in a small community and things like that, with no experience, no speech experience, no Dale Carnegie course. Got to laugh about that, because here about a week ago in the mail we get a thing, come Thursday night or whatever it is, to this free Dale Carnegie course to get involved with it. I mean, it's a thing that you come free to learn to get involved, and they want you to join, I would imagine. And heck, we got our own Dale Carnegie course going. In fact, it doesn't even cost you anything. You can make money while going through our course, because as you're going through the course and making direct and on up, you got your own Dale. We got our own Dale Carnegie course going, because you'll learn to do these things. Now, I like to think that the reason you get to speak more as you get higher in the business is because your pockets get heavier with money. It opens your mouth better. You know, it pulls you down a little or something like that. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But I'll know one reason why it is. When you have something to be excited about, it's hard to keep your mouth shut, isn't it? You like to tell people about it. That's right. And that's why this business works, is because you tell other people about it, and you like to stand in front of people and tell what good things you did. And I think recognition in this business is the more recognition you get in any other kind of a business or anything like that. Because we recognize people for doing 100. How many people have heard that 6 Things People Want tape by Jim Jantz? Oh, the rest of you haven't. You need to. Because Jim tells on there about recognition. He said one time there was a banker that had been a bank president, or vice president or something, for 27 years. And he had been responsible for 2 programs that had revolutionized the bank, and he never even got his name credit on it for anything, because somebody else took credit for it, because this guy wrote it up. And he did a measly $100 in this business and got a pin. And he said, Jim says he cried that night when he was getting his recognition, because he said, you know, I do a measly 100, and I got more recognition in this business than I did in 27 years of banking. Recognition. That's what this business is all about, is recognition, folks. We recognize you when you do something. Whether it's a little bit or a lot of it, doesn't make any difference. You get recognized for it. And that's why it's important for you people, when you have a pin coming for something, even if the pin isn't available for you that night or you already have it, hey, be recognized for it, because you've done a good job. I used to always say, and I always felt that way, that when people tell you things, I had to always make excuse for it. Well, you sure did good or something. Just come by or something. I always try to make excuse. Hey, don't do that. I quit doing that, because I'll tell you why. When you build this business, you've earned it, and you need that recognition, and it's yours, and you accept it gradually. Not gradually, gratitudely or something like that. Graciously. That sounds, hey, now that's a direct speaking. Jan, you did a good job. Thank you. Thank you. Graciously, that's good. Yeah, because in this business, you won't... Jan said that. We got some sharp directs. See? You accept that recognition now, Jan. You're sharp. In fact, they rode down with us with some more directs here, and I'll tell you, the things that those 2 couples come up with that we heard about on the way down, it blows my mind to realize how important and smart people we have there. Really, I'm serious. It really is neat. But it's exciting. Lost my train of thought here, too. What was I talking about? Graciously? Graciously. Okay. And I want to tell you a little bit about recognition. Do you know what? Amway doesn't even want you till you're direct. Did you know that? Amway doesn't really want to deal with you till you're direct. So that's the most important part, to become a direct. Because when you become a direct, then you start dealing with Amway. Instead of waiting to get your, getting your bonus check from your sponsor, you get it straight from the direct. So if you want to get a little earlier, if some of you have are way down the line from your direct, it probably takes you till the 25th to the 28th to the 30th to get your check, if it's got to go around a lot of places. We've got a group now that moved to Wisconsin, so we've got to send a check out there, and it's all got to come back to Fargo again and go around, so that's going to take a few days. But if you want to do it yourself, become a direct. Then you get straight from the company, and that's exciting, I'll tell you. But Amway doesn't even recognize you in the Ammogram anymore at direct. They decided that wasn't where it's at. Voting members where it's at. So I'm just going to show you a little bit here of what happens when you're a voting member. You get your picture in the paper. Any of you folks in this issue here as voting members? Probably not. You are? Oh, what page? Oh, goodness gracious, here I'm looking right at Joe. Okay, that's what I want. Excuse me, Joe, I didn't really know. I opened up the right page right away. Okay, Joe and Charlene Kalina recognize the voting members in here. Now you see that picture isn't very big, is it? You can't even see it out there. but it tells who sponsored them and where they're from and what their occupation is. All right? Then, now, they're going to be Pearl. All right? That's the next step up from voting member. The next one, well, it could be Ruby, but they're going to take Pearl instead of Ruby. So the next step up is Pearl. Well, you get a little bigger picture in the recognition again. And do you know that there's over 1 million people, probably it's 2 million people, will see your picture in this magazine. Isn't that exciting? You want recognition when 2 million people open up that and see, there they are, Jim and Shirley Kruger, Diamond Direct Distributors. You see that? That rings a bell, doesn't it? All right? Now, if you were to make a ruby, you'd get a little bigger picture. We don't have any rubies in here tonight, do we, besides us? Is there any? We made a ruby one time, years ago. You don't recognize that if you get a higher pin than that anymore, but we do have a ruby pin at home. In fact, we even wore it for a while. Then after ruby comes pearl. Oh, we did, too. We got another one. You don't want to, yeah, the ruby pin's nice, but you don't want to stay too long at one pin level. If you're at 15%, folks, don't stay too long at that pin. Go up to 21 so you get a new one. You always want new pins because these other ones tarnish after a while, maybe. Something like that, see? All right, pearl. When you get to become a pearl, we may even have some pearls in here we know. I don't know. Anybody in this issue that's pearl? Nobody. No, that's long ago. All right. Pearl, you get a little bigger picture. You get a little more recognition because your picture's a little bit bigger in there again. See? Then when you go to emerald, which you will have some emeralds pretty quick, you get a big picture again. Just a little bit bigger picture. Every time you move up, you get for recognition, you get a bigger picture. Your folks know all about that because you're looking at it. He's not here. Okay. Then when you become diamond, you start getting more recognition because then you get a third of a page story on you about yourself. Third of a page story when you make diamond. Now that's exciting because then they learn a little more about you. And they look again and say, hey, I've seen that couple come up them ranks, and they go back and look at some of their old amograms. There he was as pearl, there he was as emerald, now he's diamond, and they keep watching that. And you just go back in your amogram, some of you people have been around 3-4 years, you can just see this people that moving up and they just keep moving. Then double diamond. Now, how many know Frank and Barb Delisle? All right? We did a seminar for us last fall, didn't they? Last winter. December, wasn't it? Okay, here's their picture about double diamond. You get 2/3 of a page then. See, as you move up, you get more recognition, you get a bigger picture, you get a bigger story, it tells you more about it, what's going on. All right? Triple diamond isn't in here, but crown. When you want your picture on the front cover, you have to be a crown. It used to be when the Amway started, if you made direct, you got your picture on the front page because that's how many they had. Now you got to make crown to do it. But you get a whole page story then, and that's recognition, folks. And that's, I want you to know that as the recognition goes up and your pin goes up, the income goes up a little too, at different levels. Now, it's hard to pinpoint one exact income for one pin because it all depends on how much money you're making. But I just want you to sit back and think a little in your mind. And if some of you got pencil and paper in front of you, draw it out. I did this the other night, and it kind of blew some people's minds. But let's just suppose now, down the road a few years. Okay, let's take some young people here. Okay, the Jellens here. How old are you? 21 and 21. They're 21 years old. They're in this business. Now, most people retire at 65, don't they? Isn't that about the average age of retirement today, 65? They have, oh my goodness, 44 years before retirement, right? Only 44 years of work before retirement. But let's say they chose to build this business and keep just working at it, maybe 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week for the next 41 years. Here's what could happen in that length of time, or less, folks. Let's suppose that they are running 20,000 volume. Okay? 20,000 volume, that's 25% bonus of that is $5,000. You pay out about half, you keep about half, they got about $2,500 income. Not bad. But they also made Ruby, so they get an extra bonus of 1% on that 20,000, another $200 that month. But let's just suppose now that in the next 10, 20 years, or however long it takes them, they sponsor 20 double diamond direct distributors. Okay, a double diamond is somebody having 12 groups broke away. So let's say they sponsor 20 double diamond direct distributors. All 20 of them are double diamond direct distributors, and all 20 of them have a personal volume of 20,000. Now their 3% bonus on $20,000 is going to be 20 times 20 is 600 times 20. $12,000 a month, 3% money. $12,000 a month, 3% money, which is one of your permanent incomes. All right? You keep track of that, Joe, right? All right? Then let's suppose that those 12 direct distributors, I mean those 20 groups that have 12 broke away, okay, here's the Jellens, and then they got 20 around them, and those 20 each have 12. And each of those 12 are running 20,000 volume. Now, a Pearl bonus, which I'm not going to try and explain it to you new people because it's going to confuse you. Just remember that when you get there, they'll send you a check for it. As long as you qualify for it, they'll send you a check for it. But a Pearl direct distributor is somebody that has 3 or more groups broke away. And from that, you get 1/2 of 1% of all the downline volume down to the next Pearl direct. Well, it just so happens that they have 20 double diamonds, so they're above Pearl. So they only get a Pearl bonus on the directs that are broke away from these 20. Now, I've confused you new people, I know. But let's just look at a Pearl bonus, all right? Here's, some of you sponsor here? Is somebody you sponsor? Are they here in the room? No? Okay, let's say you sponsor a couple over here. All right? Let's say that they're one of those 12. They're one of your 20, but they got 12 broke away. Okay, those 12 are each doing 20,000 volume, so 12 times 20 is 240,000 volume. You're going to get a 0.5% bonus on that. 0.5% bonus on 240,000 is 1,200, right? 1,200 times 20 is Pearl bonus of $24,000 a month. Then, of course, you got all the goodies. You've got the executive diamond bonus, which when you have 20 broke away, you get $8,000 a month for that. Okay? Then you've got emerald, diamond, and profit sharing. Your emerald bonus would at least be, with that kind of a business, it would probably be 100,000 at least. Diamond bonus would be about 200,000. Profit sharing would be about 200,000. Anyway, when it all comes out said and done with an organization like that, you would make about $870,000 a year. Or more, with that kind of an organization. Now, nobody's built that kind of an organization yet. But you see, a lot of people get comfortable before they get that big. But Rich told us that last January, down in Jamaica, we were in Jamaica at Diamond Club, and Rich said that one Crown Ambassador was paid over $400,000 without the 25% bonus. That means that over $400,000 that they got paid was theirs to keep. They didn't have to share with anybody but the government. Now, they probably share a little of that with the government, no doubt. But that's the kind of money some people are making in this business now. Can make. And why can't you? You know, it's no different. It just takes people to involve to do this. But you see, each one of us can share this with as many people as you want. We talk about 7, 10, like that. Well, hey, why not 200, 300? Why not sponsor 200, 300, 500 or something like that? Could you imagine sponsoring 500 people in the business and each one of them sponsoring 500, what you'd have? Oh, there's a lot of things you can look at and talk about. But of course, let's break it down a little lower. Let's say that each one of you, by the way, can anybody do 200 here? Have you ever done 200? A lot of you have done 200, right? It can be done, can't you? If you really try. And I like what Wally Buttrick said at our seminar we had in Fargo for Silvers and Directs. It was just a leadership type seminar, and he really laid it on the line. And he said, everybody do 200. He says, do at least 200 and no less. Because he said, a dog with a note can do that much in this business. That's how easy it is. And I believe that. I believe if you had tied a note to a dog and said he's got Amway distributors to deliver, he'd do 200 in a month. And there's no excuse why anybody can't do 200. A personal retail. There isn't. There's absolutely no excuse whatsoever if you want this business. Now, if you don't want it, that's different, of course. But if you sponsor 10 people that did 200, you've got 2,000 volume. But if those 10 people each sponsored only 10 people that do 200, you've got 20,000. Now, if you've got 20,000 volume a month, you're going to make 25,000 a year income for yourself. Now, that's not too bad. You see, this business is so simple that I think people make it hard. Really, it's so simple. You do something, and you sponsor somebody else to do something. Now, we know that all of them aren't going to do it. I look at this business this way. I say, hey, we know that everybody we talk to, we aren't going to get to show them the business. We know that. It's a simple thing, and I don't want to, make your, fluff you up a little or anything like that, but it's true. Everybody we talk to, we do not get appointments with, and I don't care if you're triple diamond, you still don't. We know that, but we know if we talk to people, we're going to get some appointments to show the business to. We also know that when we sit down and show the business, everybody we show the business to is not going to get in. We know that. That's just a simple fact. It's going to happen. No, everybody's not going to join. which is all right because we need customers too, and that's where your customers can come from. We also know that everybody gets in is not going to build this business. We all know that, don't we? Especially you people who sponsored. Some people, you found that out. They're not all going to do it. Some are allowed to talk, some are allowed to, you know, and no show. I like the people that show rather than talk. But we know that if we talk to enough people, we're going to sponsor some. We know that we sponsor some are going to do it, and we know that's what's going to happen. It's just a matter of talking to more people is all. Really. And we'll never run out of people because they're coming along all the time. Look around. You see all those little ones here? 18 years from now, there's going to be a lot of distributors again coming up.
16.
No, she's going to do it in 16 years. She sponsors her kids at 16, so that's all right. Oh, I don't want to talk all night here because we've got some other things. I want to tell you a little something that can happen if you love to travel. Now, how many here like to travel? See, some don't. Okay. How about if somebody else pays for it? Would that help you to like you to travel more? Now, I'm not saying this. We're not talking about this to say that's all there's in this business. But when you do build a business, Amway does award you with recognition and some travels. Now, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about our next trip we're going to take, which is coming up the second week in September, and you can have a trip like that too. I don't know how many of you know this, but when you qualify as a Diamond Direct distributor, you get a free trip either on Peter Island or the yacht. And from then on, every year after that you break off a new direct distributor, or you can break 10 off in 1 year if you want. You only get 1 trip a year that you can take, but you can bank the rest. If you guys are diamonds and you break off 6 new ones the next year for a double diamond, you can only take 1 trip that year, but you can put 5 in the bank. So you could retire for the next 5 years and still have trips coming. That's how that works, as long as those directs are there, okay? Because you qualified for them. So remember that. It just doesn't stop at Diamond. It's every year after that you get another trip. All right? In September, they're going to fly us up to Sitka, Alaska. Now, if this is Alaska, no, it isn't really Alaska. This is Alaska. No, this is Alaska. Anyway, down where Juneau is, that leg coming down there, Juneau's on one side, Sitka's on the other side. So we're on the ocean side, so we're going to fly us into Sitka, and we're going to have a yacht trip from Sitka up a river, intercoastal channel, up to some glaciers and back down. We're going to end up at Juneau. We're going to fly back home. The next group comes in and starts at Juneau and goes backwards. And it's going to be a little different trip than all the rest because this is not going to be a flashy, high-class trip. It's going to be back to the rough kind of.
Blue jeans and sweatshirts.
Yeah, blue jeans and sweatshirts is what they want you to take along. Because it's going to be hiking, it's going to be mountain climbing, and it's going to be looking at some glaciers, and it's going to be some fun times on a yacht with 2 other direct diamond couples plus a host couple. Who's our host couple, honey? Do we know?
Somebody from the company.
Oh, somebody from the company we don't know, but we'll get to know. But we're going to be on that yacht with Lil and Jerry Johnson from Minneapolis area. They're diamond directs from there. And the other couple is going to be HR and Barbara Sessions, who are millionaires, but are also diamond in this business. Now, I believe that all their money they have has come from the Amway business to start with. That is, they made the money and invested in real estate, and now they're pretty well healed through that. And she wears diamonds that would, like a pyramid, that would make your eyes pop out. She loves diamonds. But so we're going to have a fun time on that cruise and get to know some other people and pick up some new ideas to bring back to you folks to help you build a business faster. Okay? That's just one of the things you're going to have, and those trips are for you folks. They're not just for us. They're for everybody that ever wants to build this business to diamond and above. And we're going to run you through a few. We got some slides here. We're just going to show you a few of the pictures. Some of the places we've been, so maybe it'll help you dream a little bit. That maybe it'll give you a little extra incentive to go out and build this business to have some of those trips. And all the trips except one were free. The company paid for them all because we've earned them. And just like you've earned your direct distributor trip, some of you've earned your travel seminar. There's a couple couples here. The Pearls here tonight. We're at travel seminar last year at Lincolnshire, Illinois, and Doris, did you enjoy it? And it's going to be nicer this year. We're going to Wisconsin somewhere, okay? So in October, we'll be gone again for 4 or 5 days at all those that qualify a certain amount of points. And so what we're going to do here is just kind of take a little... so they have 5 girls now in the family. Okay, next. That was Keithel and I at our first Diamond Club in Sonesta Beach, Key Biscayne, Florida. And we were speaking as Diamond Club. When you get to Diamond Club, you got to talk. And that was a little tough because Rich and Jay were there. Okay. Next. That's the hotel we stayed in, and it was getting up a little higher. That was $90 a night for the rooms there. So you learn to stay in something better than Motel 6s and things like that when you go with the company because they pay for it. Okay. And then our double diamond trip, first one we had was in September of '78, and that was over in Montreux, Switzerland, and there the rooms were $180 a night. So things get a little higher as you get up to business. That's a palace over in Switzerland. We were over there for a week, and we had went on some tours, and this was a palace a little bit out of Montreux. And we were heading up to take a sightseeing trip at the glaciers in the Alps, and this is some of the homes we're watching, looking at as we went up the mountain. This is the cable car that takes you up to the top of the mountain to see the glacier, and we're now getting into the second one. The first one brought us up this far. This is the second one, and then when we get up a little higher, there'll be another one. This is the third one, taking you across the mountain tops and on a cable car which held about 35 people, and it swayed a little in the wind, and it was a long one, and it was so high up in the mountains it was foggy and clouds. Keithel was scared, and I mean scared. In fact, she didn't talk for a week. Now this is the top of the mountain, and those other white caps over in the background, that's the Austrian Alps. Some more scenery from Switzerland. Beautiful place. If you ever want to go there, take a lot of money with you. Things are expensive there. But it's beautiful scenery, neat and clean. What's impressed me was the farmers. They had everything so neat. Their junk piles were stacked real neat. The manure piles were stacked like haystacks. Everything was just as neat as can be. Then the last night, the company had another castle, a castle of our own, and we had our banquet there that night, last evening session, and the government owns it, and they rent it to people of certain, they just don't let everybody in there. You gotta have a little clout, I guess you might say, and Amway's got a little clout, so they let them in there for it, and it was beautiful. That's the guys welcoming us in through the gate. Now this was the first travel seminar, I shouldn't say the first one, our second one, which was a smaller scale down one than the first one, but this was at Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And that's in the November of 78. And that's some of the food. They feed you real good there. Some of you people are Elsie's group here. That's Jack Elsey standing there in line eating. This was just a lunch. In the evening you always had a nice banquet meal. But they feed you real good there, folks. So you always want to go to diet before you go on these things. Then from that travel seminar, we had our diamond trip coming on the yacht. And we flew on Sunday afternoon down to Florida. I forgot. What part of Florida? No, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And we had a hotel room there. This is looking out our hotel room the next morning at some of the yachts out there. And that's Amway's yacht. That's the yacht that you won't get to ride on as Diamond, because now the new one, they got a new one that's bigger and nicer than that. That'll be in service this fall. And when you make Diamond, you'll get to ride on that new one. And boy, that's going to be class, I'll tell you. But that's what you'll get to ride on a week with your family, or I should say you and your wife, with 2 other couples of diamonds, plus a host couple from the company. We were the only double diamonds in that trip, but the other 2 were diamonds, so we got the big master suite, and that was a big king-size bed with just a lot of neat gadgets in it. Beautiful, all air-conditioned. That was a captain. He's going to be captaining the new one now. He's over in Europe right now trying out the yacht. And if some of you looked at your last ammogram or 2 ago, the new yacht was pictured in there, and he's the captain that's going to be running that ship. And he'll be ferrying it across, I think, in September sometime, or October. It takes about 6 weeks to get here. And there the girls were kind of working hard, trying to get some suntan and some air and things like this. Every night is dress-up night for the table there. You'd dress in casual suits or ties or whatever, and each night there was... I'm talking. Each night there would be different silverware, different flowers, and different arrangements on there, and different china. And that's the couples who were with us. I cut the one couple off. That's Barb and Bob Hunter from, at that time he was vice president of Nutrilite Corporation out in California. Now he's been up to one of the executive vice presidents, which there's 5 of them. And if some of you read your last ammogram, it said in there, somebody wrote in and wondered, what would happen if Rich and Jane get killed or die off all at once? And the same thing, these executive vice presidents will take care of everything. It's going to run exactly like it is It would, if Rich and Jay died tomorrow, it would run just like it always has been, never change. That's the way it's set up. The other couple is Bob and Loretta Borello from Ohio, and Hank and Alicia Gilowich from North Carolina. And that's some of the food you had to eat there. It was tough to take. That was lunch one day. And that is some lobster. And Keithel likes to think of Frank as the most good-looking guy besides me there is. He's the steward, and he'll be the new steward on the new one because he goes right with it. He's been there for quite a few years, and that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to let him serve you. You gals, would you like that? Let him serve you on that yacht? Okay, you can do that. That's some more of the food we had some evening. You get a 7-course meal. All good food, the best. Beef Wellington, I never knew what it was before. On the farm we never had beef Wellington, we just had beef. But they make it different there. That was another evening. That's some of the vegetable platter. Good food. There's a dress-up night. The last night was the more important one because we took pictures, and when you go on the yacht, there'll be albums there with pictures of the people that have been there before you. That's the Borellos and the Hunters. And that's the captain and his wife. And Amway does not like to separate families. On the old yacht, the captain's quarters isn't big enough for his wife to be with him, so he and his wife helped design the new yacht so that the captain's quarters are big enough that from now on his wife will be with him all the time. And that's the Gilowiches and us. Hasn't Keithel gotten younger since then? That's 2 Detroit diesel engines power the yacht. They're 490 horsepower apiece, and they run the turbines that make it go. And then there's 2 smaller engines. You can turn it. There's 2 smaller engines that run a 50 kilowatt generator on each one, and they run one for 24 hours, and then they switch that off and service it and run the other one. And that whole engine room is so clean you could eat ice cream off of that if you wanted to. It's washed with industrial clean. That's just a blank one. That's where some of them are, they're blank, some of the people. Now this is Peter Island. April of '79, we were in Peter Island with some more other people. Again, another trip, a free trip. And this is where you will go when you get to be diamond and above. Beautiful place. The crow's nest is up on top, and the villas for anybody to rent is down below. This is who we're with. It's Dave and Carol Kendall, who are crowns, us, and Mickey and Dottie Hamlet. And the couple on your right are Judy and Grohuskies. Oh, Chet Grohusky. He's the one who's ahead of the refurbishing of the Pantaloon Hotel. Amway bought the Pantaloon Hotel in downtown Grand Rapids for a cost of $2 million, and they're going to put $18 million in it to refurbish it, redo it. So it's nice, so it's fit for Amway people to stay there. And others, of course. This is the swimming pool at the Crow's Nest. That's right out of your bedroom. You take about 4 steps out there and you can go swimming. And it's always warm there, so you can swim year-round. And that's a yacht that Amway has leased, and they're going to let that go now when the new one comes, but it's called the Claybeth, and that was only 6 months old when they leased it, and the new yacht will be similar to that, only a little bit bigger than that, and be a little more beautiful. But the same company that built the Enterprise that you see in the first one there, and this Claybeth, and the new Enterprise 3 are all built by the same shipbuilder. But Barrasos from Puerto Rico were taking their triple trip on that when we were down there, so they stopped in and we got down there to visit it. That's the bay looking out your window on the Crow's Nest in the evening as the sailboats come in and tie up for the night. That's a look at the villas down below. The pyramid roof on the corner, way in the your right-hand corner there, that's the restaurant down below there where you go to have your evening meals. This is the patio on the Crow's Nest, and it's out on the north side. You can sit out there and sun yourself or whatever you want to do. Another look at the villa and the nice blue water. That water is the clearest I've ever seen it. Anywhere. And that back road goes up to the Crow's Nest, and it's all cement so that you can get up there when it rains, because it's pretty steep. It doesn't look steep from here, but it is. And you'll enjoy walking up there because it takes muscles in your legs. You'll build up and you can really run when you get home to build the business. Because that's what you want to do. 2 tennis courts, 2 separate tennis courts, and there's 2 in each one, so you can play tennis down there if you're a tennis buff. If you're golfers, there's no golf course. This is a beach where they have snacks at lunchtime. You go down there and have whatever they had. Some days they'd have chicken, sometimes steak, sometimes fish, whatever they had there. You go down and eat your lunch there. They had a lot of fruit, things like that. I'm sorry, I told you wrong. That other ship was the Enterprise, and this is the Claybeth. The other one was the Enterprise, and Jay Van Andel and his family were on that week, and they stopped there too and danced in the sand at that beach place where you seen their last one. But this is the Claybeth. Sorry about that. This is the vehicle you drive around the island with, and it's room for 4, but all 8 of us got in there and went. That's how we went down. Every time we went down below to the restaurant, wherever we went, we all got in there. We had to hang on the sides to do it, but we did it. Another blank, but that's somebody else that didn't do it. Okay, anyway, the sun's warm there. You're pretty close to the equator, so you got to kind of protect yourself. You got to use a lot of sun pacer, but you can get a beautiful tan there. And we were out just riding around the island in one of the boats. Look what the islands look like. And Dave Kendall said he wasn't going to go home to California until he had his armpits tanned, so he hung his, he was a little burnt on his stomach, so he hung a towel over his stomach so he wouldn't burn there, and he held his arms up so he could tan under his arms. And we were sailing one day, first time we went sailing in a big sailboat. This was about 50-footer, I guess, and we were out getting some more suntan. We had lunch out there. We were out for about 4 hours. Then they took us over to Virgin Gorda one day to the baths, and this is where you crawl through to get there. Just the only way you can get into them, and it's what it is. It's rock formations that have formed there in the ocean, and the water comes in and gets in pockets kind of in the rocks, and it's just like a bathtub. It's about 90-degree water in there. That's how you crawl through to get to it. We'll show you a little more of that later. This is the inside of that clay bed. Now that's the living room. And the new Enterprise is going to be a little bigger than that yet, so it's going to be very spacious. Bigger than most people's living rooms at home. That's the gold cluster on the bathtub in the bathroom of the clay bed. It's just a big hunk of gold. The bathroom was big enough where there was 10 people in there at once. Not using the John, but I mean we were in there standing, looking at it. This is where we're down having dinner one evening. And you can, what do you call it? Snorkel, yeah. You can learn to snorkel or whatever you want to do. Notice how blue the water is? You can look down about 30, 40 feet, 50 feet down the coral, and you can see it that deep. It's really beautiful. The Red River isn't that clean. I don't think the Cheyenne is either, right? This is some of the scenery down there of the beautiful foliage and trees and things like that. And that's the Barrasos. There's a couple of those on the clay bed. The little couple there, they're Puerto Rican. They're Crown Directs now. She was a teacher and he was a ventriloquist when they got in the business. And then there's Ruth and Roger Krause. Some lots of names tonight. They were their host and hostess on the Claybeth, and then our host and hostess, the Grohuskies, and then the hostess that's down on Peter Island that greets you when you get there is who? Norma. Okay, don't know her last name. And we had meetings every day by the pool, and this day we were having a meeting, and Chet Grohusky was asking us questions about what we do in the business, how we build it, and this kind of thing. That's why they go on these trips, is a learning trip for the company and for us to learn new and better things. But it's kind of tough having meetings like that. Then we went to Jamaica this year to Diamond Club, and that's the hotel we stayed at, and I don't know what the price was there because it's in Jamaican money, and I have no way of knowing what the difference was. That's the beach in Jamaica, and we stayed a couple extra days, so most people went home on Sunday. We stayed till Monday, so Sunday afternoon, a couple of us, couples from Canada, and us, we rented a boat and went water skiing. And of course, you rent the driver with it there. But for $10, he'd pull you around the lake once on a water ski, just a little area where you can see there. So for $30, we each got a 10-minute a swing around. Kind of expensive. Of course, gas is about $4 a gallon there. Can of peaches is about $3.50 a quart of peaches. That's Claire and Shirley Gannett and Wally and Bonnie Buttrick, the little couple on that side you can't see very well. And that's Keithel sitting way over the edge there. I got her on there too. Out sunning again. You get nice suntans. The one on the left is Rich's daughter, and the middle one is his wife, Rich DeVos's, and the one on the right is Dick DeVos's, their son's wife, so that's a daughter-in-law. Neat, pretty women, and that's Rich. He was talking with somebody, and he was looking down when I took the picture. We're going to be speaking in Saskatoon, and the couple on the left here are the ones we're going to speak for. That's George and Shirley Rudd. And they're sponsored by the couple on the right, and the couple on the back left is sponsored by the ones on the right, and the ones on the upper right are sponsored by the ones on the left. They're all diamonds. How you like that? That's good. And that's some of the entertainment they had at our banquet that night. If you've heard any tape by Paul Kahn, or when he talks about the bullfighter and the rodeo guy, that's him. That's Robert Eccles. And he's the guy that used to ride bulls in the rodeos, Diamond Direct. That's some of the food again we had to eat down in Jamaica. This was hors d'oeuvres before dinner, that banquet that night. They do things nice. That's Rich talking at Diamond Club in Aco Rios, Jamaica. And that's all the new diamonds last year. There was 72 new diamonds. And that's Peter Island again. This last March, we were there with our family because it was our triple trip. You get a free trip to take your whole family there when you make triple. This is the dining room. Maybe you can focus that a little better, Jim. There you go. That's the dining room up at the Crow's Nest. That's where you can have your breakfast and sometimes lunch, but the evening meal is always down below. Okay. That's a picture of a sailboat taken out to go sailing. That's one of the boats Rich and Jay bought for the island for you to use when you get there. That's the boat that'll come over and pick you up from Tortola, where you fly into. That's Glenn, our son-in-law, taking the picture and the camera way down the center there. And Keithel and Cindy and Candy and Tammy are up on driving the boat, pretending like. That's the cook and the maids up there at the Crow's Nest, and Norma, the host. And then they got a new jitney down there to drive because all the diamonds been wrecking the other one. So we had a new one. That's Cindy, our daughter, sitting in the back, and Larry and Kay Ulsgaard, Larry Ulsgaard is our area coordination from the company. That was our hostess couple. That's Larry and Kay again. Some of you met Larry. He's been in North Dakota a couple times. Some of you have been to some of the seminars. Some of you met him down at Amway at your direct seminar. And that's Tammy, enjoying life. She said she could learn to like this kind of life. And one day we had a picnic, so they filled us a couple of coolers full of food and pop, and we went over to the baths and had a picnic. And that's the group. If you can focus that a little better. There you go. Okay, the first one's Tammy. That's Keithel, and then behind that's our son-in-law Glenn and our daughter Cindy. They're the two that are married, and then Larry and Kay, and then the one on the right is Candy. That's Glenn enjoying it down there. That was a little hard to see. That's Tammy and Candy in the shade. That's why I'm building the business, for 4 beautiful gals. And there's a triple diamond in the raw. And we were on the Claybeth again that night because diamonds come in there and dock that one night, so we went down. We were invited down to the yacht and went on and visited the people there. Got to know some more new diamonds. In fact, one of them will be here speaking in the next year or two. And that's going back from the baths at Tor. Be nice to water ski behind that. $250,000 boat they haul you around with down there. Glenn had a hard day that day. That's the day we come back from over our picnic. That's the view of all the sailboats out there. They had a sailboat race that week we're there, and it's a really beautiful sight to sit out and watch the sailboats go, or beyond one. His poor hat, he got it dirty, so he gave it to the maid to wash, and they put it in the washer and dryer, and it come up about 2 sizes too small. And I got a hat like that too. Then, if we can focus that, we'll have a picnic. This is our picnic we had over there, and first time we sat down was on an anthill. They got ants down there, folks. But we had a neat picnic. Okay. And that's Keithel up on the top of the boat. Oh, that's Candy, excuse me, waving. Cindy and Kay are playing Scrabble or something or other. Best thing I liked there, they had a Mickey Mouse book, and I'll tell you, there's good stories in that. I sat and read that once in a while. Really, you get down there, it'll be there, and you'll have it. And that's Keithel and I holding hands in Peter Island. Now, how many of you would like to hold hands with your wife in Peter Island? Wouldn't that be nice? I guess you can see what's there. It's our family. And there's our kids with Kay and Larry. And that's what the sun looks like going down over the ocean in an island. Next. Another one as it goes down. It doesn't take very long once it starts to settle either. And it's gone. That's what you can look out over with your people on some beautiful island somewhere, watching the sunset. Watch what God has created and what you can do to see all the sights and all the beautiful places to go. It's been a great time here tonight with you folks, and I hope this has something to do that maybe somewhere you can see yourself on one of those trips or doing something like that, that you can take one of those free trips. Because I tell you, they're neat, and they're all well worth it. Because then you've earned them. When you built this business to the point where you get those trips, you've earned them. So don't worry about it, and they'll take good care of you. So I can see the leaders are here. The people that want more out of life. Like I said, whether it's more money, more time, more helping people, or whatever it is, you can have it, folks. Just keep dreaming about the things that you can have and put forth the effort to get there. Because it's there for you, in every one of you. Thank you.
Jim and Shirley, come back up here. We're not quite done yet. Bear with us. I'm going to let my wife give out some gifts or tokens of our appreciation for these fine people up here.
I want to thank Bob and Keithel very much for coming tonight. Now, this was special for Jim and Shirley. They asked Bob and Keithel, because Bob asked me, why do you want me again? But because we have heard him a couple times, but we enjoyed every time. But I'm going to let Bob open this one up first, because he lights up Keithel's beauty, and I want to show that first.
This ought to be good. So you want to do
Okay, here's the card. No? Okay.
Now I can open this one?
Yeah. That's just part of it.
Good. It's great. They come up with the things that...
I wonder if there's some way that we can...
I'm confused. It's a block of wood with a hole in it. Are they trying to tell me something?
Oh, that's the bottom. I don't know if we can get it anyplace. Okay, you can read it.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
See, then the light shines up through the crystal.
Oh, like this?
Yeah.
Is there a
It's
plug
lit
back
crystal.
It says life is for living and caring and sharing with people we love. Oh, is that beautiful?
Yes, we got to see this, folks. I'm so excited. Life
Thank
is
you
for
so much.
living and caring and sharing with people we love. That's what this whole business is about, folks.
Yes.
Caring and sharing with people.
That's for sharing with us.
She wants me to read this card. The whole thing. Taking time for others. If we always take a moment out when others turn to us for comfort or encouragement or cheer, when they have feelings to express or problems to discuss, or when they simply need to have us near. If we always take a moment out to be concerned and kind, to offer warmth, to help and share and give, if we always take a moment out for others, then we'll find there'll be more pleasure in each day we live. You give so much so often in so many special ways, in gentle words of comfort and happy words of praise, and taking time to talk a while and trying to understand, in sharing other people's joys and helping when you can. And the thoughtfulness you always show in everything you do makes you the kind of person dearly treasured all year through. Thank you very much. You are truly a neat and classy couple. Love always, Joe and Charlene. Thank you so much.
They have shared so much with us, and I know they have for Jim and Shirley too. So we had to give them that. Jim and Shirley, you come up. No, it almost turned out that way.
That's
This is
okay.
from both of you. This is one from the kids and one from us. Okay.
Oh, is that-
You can open up that one.
This one
That one's
first?
from us.
Isn't that opening?
My kids had to get them something too in the card. But I want you to read that one card from my kids. It's cute. Brett was with me.
Brett is
You can tell.
Yeah.
He helped me with that. I want you to remember this and read it when you get down, and some days.
Oh, that's pretty. Is it? It says each moment of the year has its own beauty.
Oh, yes.
We all need one of those to look at when we get down sometimes.
And it's got a little stand on it.
Isn't it?
Isn't that pretty? What you got? Hurry up.
Hurry, Jim.
Yeah. You take such a long time.
Okay, this.
I like to watch her.
This is the one from the kids.
Oh, wow. Is that me?
And you have one just like it.
Super.
No mistakes on your orders, Jim. No. I think he's been hinting.
Can I read it?
Yeah.
This is from the Kalina kids, and it says, congratulations, there are many good eggs in the world, it's true, but few of them make the grade like you. And it's got grade A, and it's got Brett, Jim, Kelly, Kirsty, and Michelle. Isn't that cute? Oh, I was right here.
You need to show what that is.
It's a calculator and notepad and a place to carry your credit cards.
That's when you travel.
Yeah,
That's
right.
when I travel.
Ernie, would you please come to the east entrance? Elmer, Ernie, please come to the east entrance.
And I've got the same.
Oh.
Isn't that nice?
No mistakes.
No mistakes, no. Yeah, well, we won't talk about that. I made it through it, so it's okay.
Oh, that's really neat.
Super. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Just like Christmas.
Joseph, we give you a hard time, but thank you. There's a little something for you and Bob and Keithel, and thanks a million.
You don't have to see it.
Well, thank you. We're going to expect a lot of 3%. You're going to get it, too.
We're supposed to figure out how much to get on our calculator, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
You got that on film?
This card reads, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." Thank you, Jim and Shirley. It's beautiful.
Come on, rip it open.
If you're direct now, you can say it. Oh, oh. pretty nice out there. Right, I got it. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Fostoria.
Neat. Thank you, Jim and Shirley.
Fostoria glasses. You got your please? Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Thank you. Is everyone see this?
Yes. Oh my God. That's why you know I don't have anything out, right? But those look pretty.
I don't know if Bob said it, but is there a waiting list to get on the yacht or on Peter Island or go on any of those trips?
Oh, they'll have it made. They'll have it ready for you when you get there.
Okay, I don't know if any of you are interested in those trips or have any dreams of that sort, but I know how you can have it. Just a matter of going out and doing it. And the whole deal with the business is selling a few products and sharing it with a lot of people. Now I have an announcement here. New direct distributors. There's going to be a direct distributor banquet September 21st at the Coachman Inn in Cooperstown. And the banquet is at 6 p.m., $6 per person. The awards and rally is at 7:30 and 8 p.m. for $2. And you're supposed to send the check by September 15 to Dennis and Elaine Fossum, and this is for Glenn and Evelyn Brandville. Would you please stand, Glenn and Evelyn? Another announcement, and I don't know how many of you are taking advantage of this, but we do have sort of a service center in Valley City now. Every Wednesday evening at the Student Center at the college, we show the marketing system. And if you've got any motivation from this evening, or if you have any wants or desires, the reason for the service center is so you can grow. So we want everybody to bring people. Bring your friends, relatives, neighbors, strangers, whatever. And there's no reason, Jim and Shirley are the first directs in Valley City, and there's no reason there can't be 20 within the next year in Valley City. And I think this service center is going to break Valley City wide open. It's sitting here with its eye just barely creeping open, and I think if everybody will use it and partake with it, we can turn this town upside down. It's at 8 o'clock in the evening, every Wednesday evening. So I don't think there's anything else. September 13th is Free Enterprise Day in Fargo. Where's that at, Bob? Holiday Inn, Fargo? Yeah. Holiday Inn? Okay. I think it's an all-day deal, right? Okay.
Morning visit.
Okay, and that's the day of the drawing for your customer deal?
10:30 is going to be a product fair, and the afternoon is going to be, and a style show. Okay, a product fair and a style show in the morning. The afternoon is going to be, who's speaking? Mark Andrews is going to be the keynote speaker, and then there'll be some other speakers in the afternoon, and then the evening will be a rally. And also, we're going to draw at that time for the cruise, for the customer cruise deal that we've been involved in. And so somebody's going to win, some customer's going to win a free cruise for a week for two this fall.
I think that's kind of neat. I don't know the last time you've been involved with any type of business or anything like that, when your customer can purchase $10 worth of products and also get the benefit of going on a Caribbean cruise. I mean, that's fabulous. For you new people that don't know much about it, it's something that's run through the Schaubert organization. Also next weekend, Labor Day weekend, there's the family reunion, Schaubert's family reunion at Arrowwood. And if any of you plan on building the business, you should be there. I mean, there's just no question about it. You need to be at these meetings. We've got super people coming in. Dennis and Kate Beecher, Crowns. Super people. Former mortician. I think, who do they get a hold of? You? Bob and Keithel? Anybody interested in coming to it? There is one room left. I mean, one room available. Am I right there? Maybe?
It's a maybe, but it's
No, there's one room left.
There's one room left at Arrowwood, at the resort. Now, there's other motels and so forth that you can get involved with. But if you're interested, you talk to Bob and Keithel right after this thing is over. Thank you all for coming. Let's stand one more time and give Jim and Shirley Kruger an applause. See you on the beaches of Carrington.